Welcome, everyone. Today I'm going to read your person's energy. I'll do my best to bring you some light about them. So please pick a group 1, 2, or 3. This time of the year, my city is completely covered with flowers, from weeping rose trees of every shape and color. So I figured I'd bring some home with me. Take your time and see what you're reading. Hello, Group 1. Welcome to your reading. This person has a very pleasant energy, serene, but intense, light and deep. This is a cinnamon roll, but not everyone will see it that way, which is very common for anyone with Scorpio energy on the spotlight in their charts. They were likely the generational curse breaker of their family. This is a term that doesn't necessarily mean there was a literal curse, but with Scorpio here, maybe. Normally, it just means this person broke the wheel the family was stuck on, be it financial debt, shady activities, stubborn mindsets that were set in stone, or often just highly dysfunctional, narcissistic dynamics. To do so, usually someone needs to end the hero, victim, villain mindset within themselves and the family. In most situations, we are all three simultaneously. Being purely just one of them is actually quite rare. And often it's all a show, the perceived victims might be the true villains and so on. So, this is someone that refuses to play the victim, learn to stop trying to be the hero, and possibly accepted the role of villain in order to break the toxic wheel. Impressive. There is a big difference between being the villain by hurting others and being perceived as the villain by hurting people's unsolicited expectations and mischievous agendas. Both Scorpio and Saturn energies are a reference to being strong enough to provide people with what they need, not what they want. Often, what people need is the truth, but what they want is to be fed comfortable lives, to remain inside their comfort zone, regardless of how dysfunctional it might actually be. That said, this goes both ways. This is someone deeply in tune with needs. So, in a relationship, they would fulfill needs you possibly didn't even know you had. This is someone very sensitive and kind, with a deep, deep faith in a higher power, but not someone to be messed with. They are very connected to divine feminine energy. In fact, every single card here is divine feminine energy, except for family, a one, which they likely broke away from. It's very hard to lie or manipulate someone so in tune into energy because energy never lies. It can shift slowly or rapidly, but lying it does not. Scorpio energy is sometimes related to revenge, but that's not the case here at all. This is someone that trusts their faith. They know people reap what they sow. They also have a connection with Saturn, the planet of karma, cause and effect. So they have experienced that karma is not a punishment, it's a tool for growth and expansion. Early on, they might have accepted the responsibility for other people's actions. They might have cleaned their mistakes for them because they knew they could handle it and felt bad for them. But eventually, they realized that doesn't work. Like, without feeling the effects of their actions, people rarely grow. They will learn nothing, or worse, they might learn ways to become masterful at pushing responsibilities and consequences onto others. The only natural way to escape karma is if someone else accepts it with their free will. In other words, this person here in the spread would never bother themselves with revenge. They would leave that up to karma. They would just allow the other person to receive what they deserve and what is required for their growth. No more, no less. Life has a way of humbling people and teaching them the hard lessons that they don't want to learn by themselves. However, in situations where they feel betrayed or unsafe, they would likely remove themselves and their energy from the person and situation. It's a cross me and you will no longer have access to me, my wisdom, or my resources point of view. It's fair. They would refocus their attention and invest their focus somewhere else. They know they are valuable, they know what they are worth, but they actually seem to be very forgiving, depending on each situation. I can imagine them venting out their frustration with small harmless things. For example, if they had offered their Netflix password to the sneaky person, they would now change it to something snarky like, so long it takes for all the fish, 42. I wonder if someone knows that reference. I'll leave it in the description. It's cute. It really is. They really like pets too. And I mean that if they had to pick between animals and humans, they wouldn't even blink before making their decision. They long for a connection that feels natural, where needs are met, be it physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, or quality time. You'll notice that all of these types of love are natural with a pet, and a chess game with people, or worst, Minesweeper. They want a relationship where simple little things like brushing their partner's hair feels natural and safe. Scorpio energy is already known for creating penetrating gazes, but with Saturn here, make that extra intense. To be honest, they may like to watch their partner, you, doing random, mundane, cute things, like eating. Not only because they find it relaxing and enjoyable, the same way many people enjoy watching mukbangs, but also because they know people act one way when they know they are in a spotlight, and a different way when they believe nobody's watching or paying attention. Someone with a well defined personality will act in a similar way regularly, maybe a little more put together and charming when in the spotlight. But a fake self person will be like Jekyll and Hyde. This is someone they love very deeply. But first, they need to discern if their crush or partner is a real deal, or if they are falling in love with a fake persona, as it probably happened in the past. Don't take it personally. Let's see now. This person appreciates a slow paced life. They might not have that at the moment, but it's what they desire. They like when people take their time to mindfully do tasks, slow cooked food, self care routines, gardening, taking naps, so on. On a side note, if they haven't discovered the online world of ASMR, they would absolutely adore it. Either they are aware of it or not, they are very skilled with manifestation, with the law of attraction. It comes from an unshakable belief that everything will turn out all right, even during the darkest moments. They feel at ease with heavy situations because of a deep trust that whatever happens serves a purpose. They like to see their life through heaven's eyes. An ability they likely gained by rising from the ashes out of tower moments and situations that nobody expected them from making it through. They may even have done it mostly by themselves, with only help from above, hence having such unwavering faith and hope. That said, this is someone sweet, patient, caring, attentive to needs, perhaps a bit aloof, but with emotions that run very deeply. Physical touch and quality time are definitely their favorite love languages. If you ask them, they'll likely answer quality time, but physical touch might actually be number one. Acts of service are likely equally important, keeping in mind that they enjoy a slow paced life, so they might take longer at doing the dishes, gardening, walking the dog, because they want to enjoy what they are doing. Reminds me of Poong. I'll leave the video on the description below your group. They'll also love to use words of affirmation to make you feel everything will be alright, cheer you up, and ensure you feel good about yourself. I think that's all for now. I'll leave you with some suggestions for gifts that the Scorpio archetype enjoys receiving, sometimes giving. I hope you enjoyed this reading. See you soon. Hello, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. So, you're in love with an Aquarius. And I'm not just saying that because the Aquarius card literally came out. This entire energy feels very Aquarian. Even if they don't have their sun up there, I'm pretty sure Uranus and the 11th house have the spotlight. The good news is that they seem to be the hopelessly romantic type. Don't get me wrong, I love Aquarius, my midheaven is up there, but they can be quite a handful. A handful of ice, hard, sharp, cold, and slippery. Luckily, I don't think that's the case here. This energy is very warm, loving, and dedicated. I feel this person was very devout to a cause, either a religion, community, institution, or movement, and has recently been very let down by it. Their own identity was very enmeshed with their lifestyle, so they might have taken it as a personal failure. They may have been a bit too naive, and that is something Aquarians will take to heart. Aquarius and naivety are not synonyms. They may have gone so deep into their role and responsibilities that their authentic self might have gotten the backseat or even been repressed. I do think in time they will realize that it was for the best, even if it doesn't feel that way right now. At the moment, this is someone dedicated to diving deep into themselves, to the roots of their core identity and the depths of their soul, beyond who the world thinks they are and wants them to be. And everyone who has gone through this process knows that it's inevitable to end up several relationships, friendships, jobs, habits, or any toxic attachments. When they are no longer a vibrational match, both parties will lead to new energies that match theirs. In this case, towards a loving match, a reunion of soulmates. This couldn't be done before they chose self love, before they could invest their time and attention towards intimacy, starting with themselves first. There are a lot of moons here, and they all relate to their hidden emotions. In the past, they did look away from them, possibly to focus on their career and business connections. The house of Aquarius, the 11th house, is related to the value we offer to others and to the world, hence being so known for friendship, humanitarian work, and networking. What many don't talk about is that due to the natural law of cause and effect, we always receive a form of what we put out into the world. Therefore, the 11th house also rules our earnings, good karma, sources of income, including retirement and sometimes big financial gains. For curiosity's sake, the second and 12th houses are two sides of the same coin. The second house represents the financial situation that is within our comfort zone. For example, the wealth we grew up in, while the 12th house shows the financial gains that come from our growth and personal effort. Note how in three cards they are putting the moon, their deepest feelings and what helps them feel emotionally secure, hidden behind their back. But from now on, as they choose intimacy, they face them head on. The moon also represents our needs, instincts, intuition, empathy, and mood swings, along with our sense of security and comfort. They need someone truly loyal and dedicated, almost hopelessly devoted. The problem was where they were applying their trust. Now they are refocusing their attention towards themselves and their heart. The dog card indicates a relationship with a strong friendship and trust. It's a mutually supportive and stable relationship. With the cross, it usually indicates that the loyalty has become burdensome, often with inescapable duties and ideologies that now need to be challenged or questioned, be them political or religious. That seems to be past energy. They are now entering a new phase in their lives. As Walnut is literally a card that refers to resilience during times of change. They want to open themselves to a loving relationship, now embracing their intimacy and sensuality as a natural part of themselves. The white dove is a symbol for wholesome freedom, purity, peace, love, and hope. Also, there are a lot of references here for them having sensitive ears. They seem to enjoy sweet whispers, reassuring words, peace, and calmness. Water violet shows me that they want to avoid noise and sound pollution. On a side note, for anyone that hasn't tried either white, brown, or pink noise to sleep, work, or study, give them a chance. They mask other sounds, making life easier for people who live in loud neighborhoods or near schools, noisy places. My current favorite is super deep pink and purple noise. I may have been overlooking the fact that this person might be a bit of a genius, very intellectual and sharp. In fact, what they perceive to be a failure might surprise them and turn into a big victory. Look at the pomegranates behind the card of the cross. Pomegranates usually are not in this Lenormand card, but they are a very common tarot symbol, representing prosperity, success, and fortune. Also, paradise, resurrection, and the afterlife, which was probably what inspired the artist that drew this version. If we look at the failure card, we also see that after the downfall, everything goes up once again. People driven by Aquarius energy are usually visionaries. They have a deep desire to evolve, improve, and optimize everything around them, often being philanthropic and keenly interested in making the world a better place. Notice both these cards are 9. This number is humanitarian at heart. It also represents completion, but not finality. I sense a bright future ahead for them, for both of you. It's always darkest before the dawn. Now, as for the 5 types of love language, definitely words of affirmation are their favorite one, especially in the form of whispers. This is someone that will love to ensure that everyone feels smart, capable, and they'll love to teach or give tips. Quality time will be equally important. And although they may like to do fun activities like swimming and diving, I do think they prefer to relax at home. This energy is very cozy and homey. They probably enjoy physical touch, being close and caressed, more than they would like to admit. And I do think kisses on the forehead might be a special sign of endearment for them. For acts of service, count them to take care of the intellectual tasks like money management, filling the IRS, buying things. But I'll be honest, when it comes to household chores, they are probably a bit messy. An organized mess, but a mess nonetheless. And I think that's it for now. For gift ideas, I'll leave you with suggestions for gifts that the Aquarius archetype enjoys. I hope you enjoyed your reading. See you soon. Hello, Group 3. Welcome to your reading. Right from the start, out of all readings, this is the one with the deepest connection to divine masculine energy, regardless of their gender. But with Pluto here, a planet linked to death, rebirth, and reincarnation, I do feel they might have mastered or become adept at divine masculine energy in past incarnations. And now they are working on the opposite, their divine feminine side. So I wouldn't blame you if your person confuses you, because I actually sense they might be really cute, funny, adorable, cinnamon roll. But when life gets dark, they are not someone people want to mess with. Very powerful, in a quiet way. For example, all our interactions start at a subconscious level. People tuned to their inner self will feel it, and conscious ones will react instinctively. So most criminals wouldn't pray for martial arts masters, even if they had no idea who they are, because at the subconscious level, they can sense it would be troublesome. People rarely pick fights they sense they cannot win. Even our own body posture can often give us an upper hand during uncomfortable situations. I'll leave a video in the description that explains this topic. Where there is a will, there is a way, is probably this person's slogan, and resilience is their middle name. They have walked a hard path filled with adversity, and I think their specialty is now the ability to see purpose and humor even in the darkest situations. This is someone capable of loving the dark while remaining brightly in the light, which is actually something quite rare nowadays. They may have a tendency to embarrass people by pointing out their hidden shadows, when to them, from their point of view, they are interesting, fascinating. They enjoy dissecting the mind and covering the truth. Both Pluto and Aries are related to psychology and thought provoking topics. They are a giver and a lover, as they deeply enjoy taking care of others. Maybe even a bit too much. This is the energy of a classical warrior. They may have been by themselves for quite some time, not because they prefer solitude, but because they care too much and feel so deeply. So they choose to wait for the right people. They learn that caring for people that do not care for themselves always leads to heartache. The truth is that everyone is always doing what they perceive to be best for them. But some people are more ego driven, choosing to play zero sum games. In other words, they only take, and disregard what's best for others. They do so because they are treating others as they treat themselves. If they operate only on mental activity and have no empathy for themselves and their bodies, how could they have empathy for others? If they are completely disconnected from their own emotions, how could they possibly respect the emotions of others? This is how this person in his reading sees the world. So they value people that show they care about themselves and others. If they eat well, sleep well, if they are careful about what they watch, the songs they listen, who they spend time with. Sometimes they may be a bit too overcaring and forget that not everyone has gone through as much growth as they did, that they still need to make mistakes in order to learn. I read a study somewhere where the scientists created a perfect artificial biosphere for plants and trees, only to realize it was not working well without wind and storms. Because these elements help the trunks of the trees grow strong and not fall down due to its own weight. So they had to add artificial, strong winds to the mix. This reminds me of your person. As much as they like to shelter and create sanctuaries for the people they love, they need to allow them to face a few storms once in a while. I'll search for the study and link it below for any fellow botany lovers out there. Which reminds me, there are two types of gifts for flower lovers, arranged or planted. For this person, definitely planted. Not that they would dislike to receive a bouquet of flowers, but to impress them, a gorgeous flowered plant, still on the pot, would be a better option, as it allows them to care for it and grow it over time. They absolutely love the art of gift giving, and they actually probably take it seriously. For example, this isn't the type of person that would buy something the night before your birthday on a rush. They would plan it ahead and either create or buy it ahead of time and keep it well hidden. But on a daily basis, they will enjoy giving thoughtful presents or cute gestures, like homemade lunch boxes. I believe the popular term is husbento, or maybe wife bento. In this case, you never know. Needless to say, they will also appreciate receiving them, even if they are okay with not everyone being so adept at gift giving as they are. I'm pretty sure they can figure out secret desires that people didn't even know they had. That said, anyone with lots of Aries energy on their charts usually doesn't like having to guess things. They prefer when others vocalize their needs directly and clearly. Using the cooking example again, they would prefer knowing what everyone wants to eat, or at least receive ideas and suggestions. Just because they can pick up on what people want and need They likely don't want to enable them. They want others to learn the magic and wonders of clear communication. Aries energy also tends to influence people to be generous to a fault, which is confirmed here with bouquet and fish, a combination that literally means that this person may be always willing to share what they have. Someone who is a big kid at heart. Be it money, things, knowledge, time. This person loves to give. And I do think people may have taken advantage of that in the past. So now they're a lot wiser. Now they'll teach people to fish for themselves, but they will no longer give any free fish. Unless they are in love, then they may give the whole ocean to those they care for, especially in the form of acts of service, doing helpful things to make your life easier. Also, words of affirmation. They enjoy helping people grow, so they'll ensure they have a safe space to do it, and that they'll receive all the motivation and support they need. Regarding quality time, I will say they may need to often reserve time for themselves. They seem to love to saunter, you know, taking some leisure strolls in nature. But they absolutely love to spend most of their time with their beloved ones. They especially love embracing and being embraced. To them, physical contact is a form of nurturing and soothing. And I think those may be all the messages I have right now, yes. But to give you some gift ideas, I'll now leave here some suggestions for gifts that the Aries archetype enjoys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed your reading. See you soon.